Coach Justice at Fitness for All Bodies created an amazing course called Deconstructing the Fitness Industrial Complex. And this is a course that I really think all fitness professionals should take, and also anyone even remotely adjacent to the fitness industry. So highly recommended. I want to go through a couple of concepts that stuck out to me in the 6 weeks that we had together and how they've affected my own coaching practice. In week 1, we discussed whose bodies are deemed valuable, and we also talked about all the different types of oppression that are relevant to the fitness industry. And Coach Justice had a line in one of our discussions about the fitness industry is body supremacy. So my coaching team members and I realized that learning about and deconstructing and dismantling this fitness industrial complex is not just a one-time deal. So we are committing to a continuous learning process, and it's something that we're going to weave into our practice at all times. In week 2, Coach Justice said, the myths we learn about our bodies affect how we coach bodies. And we talked about the similar types of oppression that exist within all institutions, whether it's fitness, education, medicine, housing, anything really. And Justice feels like the fitness industry is what we need to break through in order to affect all the other industries. So that makes me feel even more personal responsibility to make a difference here. In week 3, we talked about the goals of sport and fitness as being driven by the patriarchal culture. And this comes into play with displaying superiority, embodying violence and pain, things like valuing youth and ability. And then we also talked about gendering the body, so looking at gender as binary in the fitness industry for the most part, and sexualizing females in particular. So concepts from this week inspired me to write an article called 7 Problems with Bikini Competitions and Why We Don't Train Clients for Them. And in my business, I would like to continue dismantling assumptions about what fitness is and what kind of culture it involves. So in that vein, I invited one of my friends onto my podcast, and we discussed this idea of the bro culture and how it actually has ties to white supremacy. And we also discussed women taking up space physically and socially in fitness and in business. So I would like to continue amplifying the voices of GLBTQ and BIPOC folks on the podcast. So I'm making that even more of a focus moving forward with the show. In week 4, we talked about beauty being in the eye of the beholder. But what does that mean when society tells us what beauty is? And Coach Justice had a really good point. If businesses looked more like community centers, people will come. So this is something that I really want to take to heart. And in my business, we recently established team chat guidelines and best practices. And so this is for our client community to make sure that it's a safe and inclusive space for everybody. Long before I took this course, we in my business made the decision to not use progress photos or client before and after photos in our business anywhere. But since taking this course, we've made this stance more obvious. So we have an article about why we don't use progress photos. We have a little blurb on our testimonials page about why you won't find any photos there. And that has made a difference. People have noticed, and they're telling us that it makes our practice more inclusive. In week 5, we talked about fitness through a social justice lens. And so one of the points that stuck out to me was creating a sense of belonging for our clients involves asking questions. It involves listening. It doesn't involve making statements. So this means approaching clients where they're at. It means the client taking the lead. And it also means being open to criticism. So this is something that I want to work on moving forward. We're pretty informal about getting feedback in our business. And so moving forward, I would like this to be more of a formal feedback generating system. And that's something that we need to work on. My business is 100% online, so we don't have physical spaces to consider for things like accessibility, for example. But we do need to ensure that our online spaces and communities and our coaching relationships with our clients are as inclusive as they possibly can be. Part of this might involve transforming other people's ideas of what fitness is. And I think what that's going to involve on my part specifically is continuing to have conversations with other fitness professionals and also continuing dialogues with our own clients. On my coaching team is Zoe Pellid, who also took this course in a previous cohort. And she says her professional education journey right now focuses on diversifying movement, prioritizing inclusivity, and reframing movement to welcome folks of varying levels of backgrounds and abilities. And I think she puts it perfectly. So thank you to Coach Justice for the opportunity to take this course and the community that you've created around it, for the way that it's affected my coaching practice, and for the way that it will continue to affect my practice and my education moving forward.